All right, welcome in, everybody. We are diving deep today into, well, it's a letter.
Yeah.
It's not just any letter, though.
No.
It's a letter. It's one of those letters.
Thousands of years old.
That's been around for a while.
Yeah.
And it's a letter. It's actually the second letter from a man named Paul to his friend Timothy.
Yeah, second letter to Timothy.
Second letter to Timothy.
We're not covering the first letter.
Not this time.
Maybe another time.
And what's really interesting about this is that we have this letter, and it's thousands of years old.
Right.
And yet it's so personal.
Yeah, it really is.
It feels like it's a message from a mentor.
Like advice from a friend almost,
Yeah.
or a mentor, or a guide even.
Yeah.
Down through the ages.
And so that's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be going through,
We're going to
unpacking this letter and trying to figure out, like, what is its core message?
All right.
And how does that apply to us today?
Yeah, because you would think something written so long ago
Yeah.
wouldn't really have much relevance,
Right.
but it's surprising how much of it still applies.
Right.
It's almost like the human condition hasn't changed that much
Yeah.
in 2,000 years.
Well, let's set the stage a little bit.
Okay.
So we have Paul, who's writing this letter. He's a key figure in spreading a new faith.
That's right.
And we have Timothy, who is like his younger follower.
Yeah, his protege.
His protege. He's mentoring him.
Kind of like taking him under his wing.
Yeah, he's taking him under his wing.
Right.
And Paul's writing this letter from prison.
That's right. Yeah, from prison.
Right.
And that really adds another element.
He knows a thing or two
Yeah, he knows a thing or two about hardship.
about challenges.
Yeah, and so it makes his words even more powerful, I think.
Yeah.
Because he's speaking from a place of experience.
Right. So he's not just talking the talk.
Yeah, exactly.
He's walking the walk.
He's walking the walk in a big way.
Yeah. So before we get to all the heavy stuff,
Yeah.
I noticed right away in the beginning, he kind of softens things up a bit.
Right.
He acknowledges Timothy's tears.
Yeah.
He expresses joy at seeing him.
Right.
And he reminds him
Yeah.
of his strong faith lineage.
Right. His family background.
Yeah.
He mentions his grandmother Loida and his mother Eunice
Yeah.
and their faith.
Right. It's almost like he's laying a foundation of care.
Right. He's building a rapport.
Yeah.
He's establishing this connection.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, I'm here for you. I understand you. I know you're going through a lot.
Right. And then he goes on to say
Right.
some really powerful stuff.
He does. Yeah.
Like, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and self-control.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's just
Talk about powerful words.
powerful words.
And that really gets to the hearts
Yeah.
of what Paul is talking about in this letter.
It's a call to action.
It is a call to action.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not about, he's not saying don't be afraid.
Yeah, he's not saying ignore your fear.
Right.
He's saying...
He's acknowledging that fear is a natural human emotion.
Right.
But it's about what we do.
Right, we have the power.
Over that fear, yeah.
We have the power to overcome it.
And he says we have power, we have love,
Yeah.
and we have self-control.
Yeah.
And these are the things that God has given us to
Yeah.
combat fear.
So power in this context,
yeah.
it's not like...
It's not like worldly power.
Yeah, it's not like dominating other people.
Right. It's not about power over others.
Right. It's almost like...
It's about power over yourself.
Yeah, it's about mastering yourself.
Yeah, it's that inner strength to face challenges.
Right.
And act on your values.
And it can apply to so many
Right,
things.
to every area of life.
Yeah, like it could be...
Public speaking.
Yeah, or
Standing up for what you believe in.
standing up for what you believe in.
Or even just getting through a tough day.
Yeah, that's
The everyday challenges that we all face.
right. It's that
Yeah.
courage that we need sometimes.
That quiet courage.
Yeah, that inner strength.
And that actually
Yeah,
leads us to
that leads us to...
another theme.
Right, another big theme in the letter.
Yeah, and it's this idea of standing up
Yeah, standing up for what you believe in.
for what you believe in.
Even when
difficult.
it's hard.
Yeah, even when it's unpopular.
Right.
Even when it might cost you something.
Yeah, Paul urges Timothy
He does. Yeah.
not be ashamed of their
Yeah.
shared faith.
Right, of the gospel, of their
Right.
beliefs,
Yeah,
even though
it's causing him hardship.
hardship, yeah.
He's in prison.
Right, he's in chains.
Yeah. And it makes me think,
Yeah, I wonder,
have you ever
I've often thought about this.
have you ever felt that pressure
Yeah, absolutely.
to not speak up
Right, to stay silent.
about
something that you feel strongly about.
Yeah, because you're worried about
Because you're worried about the consequences.
the consequences.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, like
What people might think.
what people might think.
Or what you might lose.
Oh, yeah, or even like
Yeah.
physical harm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a very real thing.
Right. Right. So Paul's saying
Yeah.
we need to have that courage.
Right. To be vocal.
To be vocal.
To stand up for what's right.
Yeah. And that resonates.
I think that resonates
With us today.
today.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be about
It's not just about religious faith.
religious faith. It can be about
It could be about any kind of value that you hold dear.
any
ethical stance.
ethical stance or
Any belief that you feel is important.
that you really believe in.
Right.
Yeah, and then he goes on to talk about
Okay.
something that I think is really important.
Okay.
But it's also
It could be a little bit tricky. Yeah. It's tricky to wrap our minds around.
right.
And it's this idea of a calling.
Right, the idea of a calling that
Yeah.
each of us has,
Yeah.
a purpose
The purpose beyond
beyond ourselves.
ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's something that transcends our individual actions.
Yeah. So help me out here.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
for someone who's not particularly religious,
Right.
this idea of a calling
It can sound a little
could sound a little out there.
a little mystical,
Yeah.
a little woo-woo.
Yeah. So how would you explain that?
Yeah, so I think the way to understand it is to think about it in terms of purpose.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is it that gives your life meaning?
Right.
What is it that you feel passionate about?
Yeah.
What is it that you feel like you were put on this earth to do? And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be
Right.
something grand or
Yeah.
world-changing. It could be something very simple.
Right. Right.
But it's something that gives you a sense of direction,
Yeah.
a sense of purpose, a
Right.
sense of meaning.
And that ties back
Then
by
that's where it ties back
resilience.
to resilience. Because when you have a sense of purpose,
Yeah.
when you know that you're part of something bigger than yourself,
Right.
it gives you the strength to face challenges.
Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
that feeling of,
Yeah,
okay, this isn't just about me.
Right.
This is about something bigger.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's about contributing to something larger than yourself.
And that gives me the energy to keep going even when I want to quit.
Yeah, it gives you that fuel,
Yeah.
that motivation.
Yeah. And that also leads to another idea
Right.
that Paul talks about, which is
And that is
trust.
Trust, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a big one.
Yeah.
Because Paul expresses
Yeah.
unwavering confidence
Yeah.
that God will protect
Yeah.
what he calls my deposit.
My deposit.
All right.
And-
Now, this deposit could have a lot of different meanings depending on your theological perspective.
Yeah.
But I think on a deeper level,
Right.
it speaks to this idea of trusting
Yeah.
in something
Wait.
larger than ourselves.
Larger than ourselves.
Right. So
Yeah.
think about
Yeah.
the things in your life
Yeah.
that you feel
Yeah.
deeply entrusted with.
Yeah.
Things that you want to safeguard and nurture.
Yeah.
It could be your talents,
Right.
your relationships,
Huh.
your values,
Right.
your dreams.
Yeah.
These are all things that we can think of as our deposits.
Our deposits.
Right. And when we trust
Yeah.
in something bigger than ourselves,
Yeah.
whether it's faith or family
Our community.
or community
Yeah.
or some other source of meaning,
Right.
it gives us
Yeah.
that resilience.
It gives us the resilience. Yeah. And so we have Paul,
Right.
who's writing this letter from prison,
Yeah.
and he's facing all these hardships,
Right.
but he still finds a way to,
He still finds a way to be hopeful,
to be hopeful.
be encouraging,
Yeah. And to encourage Timothy.
to encourage Timothy.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he does
Yeah.
is he gives shout outs
Yeah. You give shout outs to people.
to specific people,
Yeah.
like Onesimus,
Yeah. Onesimus.
who provided comfort to Paul
Right. He wasn't ashamed
and wasn't
of
ashamed
Paul being in prison.
to Paul's imprisonment.
Yeah. And then he mentions
Right.
others who
who turned away.
turned away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
interesting.
it's interesting that he does that.
Yeah, because it shows that
Yeah.
even in this profound letter,
Yeah.
he's still acknowledging
Yeah.
the people who showed up for him
Yeah.
and those who didn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important lesson for us because it reminds us that
Yeah.
even the most resilient among us need support.
Needs support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that sometimes that support
Yeah.
comes from unexpected places.
Yeah. It really makes you think
It does.
about who are the Onesimuses in our lives.
Right. Who are the people who are
Yeah.
showing up for us?
Yeah.
Who are supporting us?
Yeah.
Who are encouraging us?
Yeah.
And are we being
Yeah. Are we being that
For other people.
for someone else?
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We've covered a lot. I'm curious what really stood out to you.
I think for me, the most impactful part of Paul's message
Yeah.
is that idea of finding strength in something larger than ourselves,
Yeah.
whether it's faith or sense of purpose,
or the support of others.
or the support of those who truly believe in us.
Yeah, it's like he's saying,
Hey, even in the darkest of times, you're not alone.
right, you have
The power within you
the power within you
to overcome challenges.
to overcome the challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is
Yeah.
he's writing this from prison.
Right.
So he's not speaking
He's not speaking from a position of comfort.
from a place of comfort and ease.
Right. He's speaking from a place of
He's speaking from a place of hardship,
hardship.
of suffering.
Yeah.
And yet he still finds
Yeah. He still finds that.
that hope, that
Yeah.
strength,
Yeah.
that resilience.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's something that we can all
that's something that we can all draw on.
draw on, no
Yeah.
matter what our circumstance.
No matter what our circumstance.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think Paul's letter
Yeah.
is a really powerful reminder
Yeah.
that resilience
Yeah.
isn't just about gritting our teeth
Yeah.
and pushing through. It's
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
tapping into
Those sources of strength,
yeah.
both internal and external,
Yeah.
that empower us
Yeah.
to face
It was
whatever
what's-
life throws our way.
Whatever life throws our way.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a really eye-opening deep dive.
Then Hess,
I know we just scratched the surface.
we just scratched the surface.
But hopefully this
But it's
conversation has sparked some reflection.
Yeah, some thought,
Yeah.
some consideration.
Yeah. And remember, like Paul said,
Yeah.
you have
You have power.
power.
You have love.
You have self-control
And you have self-control within you.
within you.
And that's something worth remembering.
It is.
Yeah, whether you're facing a major life challenge
Right.
or just trying to get through the day.
Yeah. The everyday ups and downs.
The everyday ups and
of
downs
life.
of life. Well,
Oh,
thanks
yeah.
for joining us today.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.